What time did Jesus die? When was Jesus crucified? Well, according to Mark, he was says now it was the 3rd hour and they crucified him. But according to John, it says it was about the 6th hour. And Pilate said to the Jews, "Behold your king." And then he was carried off to be crucified. Now, the way they reckon time under Jewish reckoning, they start at sunrise, which is about 6 o'clock. Actually, this time of year, I mean, we're right here, Easter, Passover, that's all right there together, which is this immediate time of year. Sunrise this morning in Israel was 6:09. So 6 o'clock, beginning of the day, and then they count hours from there. And so you have Mark is saying that he was crucified at 9 a.m. But John is saying that he was crucified at noon. So which one is it? Appears to be a contradiction until you read a little bit. Jewish time and Roman time were reckoned differently. Roman time measured the way we do, midnight. Jews counted from sun up. Romans counted from midnight. So Mark is using Jewish time, and John is using Roman time. Okay? So whenever Mark says it was the 3rd hour, he means about 9 a.m. The 3rd hour from sunrise, 6 o'clock plus 3 is 9. Okay? So John says it was the 6th hour. Okay, but midnight plus 6, well, that's 6 o'clock. We've still got a problem. There's still 3 hours kind of missing there. Well, but that's where you stop and you take a look at what was actually said. Because John doesn't actually say that that is when Jesus was crucified. He says that's whenever Pilate turned him over to be crucified. Do you think that right then and there, that minute, they threw him on a piece of wood and nailed him down? No. Some time passed. Actually, we have several things where time passes. So Mark is saying that he was crucified. Mark actually says, and they crucified him at the 3rd hour. So we have some other things that go on. In Mark and in in Matthew, they both record that after Pilate turns Jesus over to be crucified, the soldiers take him and beat him and mock him some more. Okay, well, there's some time they're spending doing, who knows how long. They're having some fun beating and whipping and mocking Jesus. And then we also know that he's crucified with 2 other people. So they're getting them, ready and doing whatever they're doing with them. And then he has to carry his cross from the palace where they're at out to the place where he's going to be crucified, which is about, best I could figure, about 1/3 of a mile, which is not a long distance, but it's also not a very fast walk, especially after Jesus has been beaten the way he had. And then once they get there, then they actually got to make the preparations to, get him and nail him down and everything. So this is not a just quick and easy. So whenever at about 6 a.m., and remember, these are not firm times. They're not sitting there counting seconds on their clock like we do. So whenever they say, it was the 3rd hour, well, it was somewhere in the general area of the 3rd hour. So sometime about 6 or shortly after, Pilate says, take him away. Then they beat him, they mock him, they get the other prisoners, they march him out there, and you have 3 hours worth of time, roundabouts more or less, whenever Pilate says, go crucify him, and then when they actually nail him to the cross. So John is saying, this is when Pilate turned him over, and Mark is saying this is when it happened. No contradiction. It all actually perfectly fits with the timeline of what Scripture is laying out.